Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon as we cover the final solo scenario for the Horizon's Wrath faction in Cloudspire. This is Go to See No More, where you're up against the Grove Tender faction. So this one's actually quite interesting and sets up the story quite nicely for the co-op scenarios. So I would recommend playing those in order. But what you actually have here is a Grove Tender hero, Daiwin, who's tucked way down in there, who you're actually attempting to rescue and are going to kind of work with in the future. So Daiwin is considered a hero. What I was not 100% sure of, and technically you only are allowed 2 heroes per wave, and that includes when you have people, mercenary heroes from the marketplace, who I'm going to show off here in a second. So it was not clear as to whether or not Daiwin counted against your total hero count. And so just right off the bat, these recommendations I'm going to give you here are assuming that Daiwin does not count against your hero count until you have activated Daiwin and actually start to move her and use her as part of your hero faction. So just keep that in mind. Could receive some clarification from Cloudspire and they could completely shatter this strategy, but this is how I was successful in this scenario. So obviously you're going to bring out Mistbane right off the bat, and really the focus here is not on how you stack up your minions and how you send them out, because really all they need to do is address the incoming forces of the Grove Tenders to make sure they don't come up and destroy your gate. Also clearing out some of these landmarks ahead of time so that you have places to build spires is important too. So the Buccaneer here, who can help you with the landmarks, is one I used. The Corsair is really nice, especially early on, because the Grove Tenders use double tap roots in every single wave. Now they have 3 at their disposal, but if any point in time, if you can use the Corsairs to say get rid of 2 of these guys and capture them, it really reduces their what they can put forth in the future, because the taproots will summon Warbriars every time, depending on how you take them out, and they just get really annoying. So using your Corsairs and targeting the taproots, or even the Warbriars for that matter, but according to the rules, if you can't summon a Warbriar, then they just summon something different. So targeting the taproots with Corsair capture capability, which means you are going to need to use a Swabby to get them flipped over, and then the Gunner, preferably also promoted side 3 range. That way they can take some shots from a distance at these front towers here. So, but as I said before, their main focus is really going to be to come head to head with the approaching Grove Tender forces here. So we've got Mistbane here, and again, this was my strategy, was to really focus on a Merc hero who you could bring in and could help you with the towers. So these are I just pulled out some. These may not be all of them that could be successful. These first 3, though, should be able to be purchased right off the bat. So if you found them from the beginning, you get 3 source during the prep phase of Wave 1. So this is not one of those scenarios where you don't get any source ever, and it can be difficult to purchase stuff from the market. So Yesel here has the Assault keyword. Portal Hopper has Camouflage and Incorporeal, which means they can get right up against the tower. So these ones with pretty good range aren't going to hurt you before you can get in close. Or the Sword Sniper, which has 3 range, so can hit from a distance. Also, Callus here has Spire Shot. The Elite Duelist also has Assault. So those are all keywords that you want to look for. 3 range or better, Assault, Spire Shot. All of these are going to be mercenaries who can help you reduce these spires down. The ones you want to actually focus on are your Creeping Vines. Normally your Creeping Vines don't do much, but in this scenario they're given 2 range and 2 attack. and you really kind of need to address this first one, this front one that starts here first, before you can even really attempt to bring Mistbane in to deal with the gate port that sits down here just off camera. Because one of the objectives in this scenario is to get up here to this separated island, floating island, and address these two gate ports. Well, to get there, the first thing you have to do is work Mistbane all the way down over here into the southern region, use that gate port to get himself onto here. I guess technically you could bring Track's Tail out in like wave 2 or on, but you know, I was able to get Mistbane on there. It just did take me a while. It wasn't until wave 3 that I was able to get over here, because I kept Mistbane away from everybody, because the path is really set up with Mistbane's terrain ability. Mistbane pretty much has to stay on the path, which means he has to get within range 2 here of all of these spires, and so you really got to focus on taking care of this creeping vines right here. But what you do have is, assuming nothing else is in the way, you have a straight shot from your, I guess this is the number 2 cannon here. So keep that in mind. As soon as you have the source to do so, I would definitely purchase these interior cannons here, load up on some cannonballs, and take some shots at the creeping vine here. Hopefully you can take out the bottom 2 attacks, and then the creeping vine is basically useless, and you can freely bring Mistbane in here without risk of being taken out, and then address hopefully the landmarks down there, and then make it up into here. Also, the number 1 cannon here can also, whenever this landmark is gotten rid of, take out this Retall Spire here, which eventually was my strategy for getting Daiwen out. I did not worry about taking care of these over here. I took out technically this one, and then I had one of the events where these all rotated, and so that opened up this hole right here. But you do have to consider that, you know, this creeping vines and this creeping vine, since Daiwen only moves 2 at a time, once you move her the first time, she's only going to get to right here. And I believe that it was this creeping vines that could have hit her, so I did have to address that, and I addressed that with my gunner from, like, you know, right here or something like that. I had taken out the muskeg. Basically, don't move Daiwen until you are certain that when you move her, she's not going to take hits from the spires, because as soon as you move her, she becomes a Horizon's Wrath hero and will become the priority target for these spires if within range. At that point, I then ran her up here and built a lifeboat right here, and she hopped the lifeboat back. Also, you may be wondering, if you successfully get Mistbane out here and address these 2 gate ports by overloading them, which is part of the scenario, then he's stuck out there. The scenario rules specifically want you to build a shadow skiff out here. Scenario rules say that basically they lead to you being able to do this, and then you're going to want to build a lifeboat anywhere. You could build a lifeboat here, and then you can trade this shadow skiff with the lifeboat, and then Mistbane rides the lifeboat back. So that's pretty obvious in the scenario rules that, you know, they discuss the out of the ordinary rules for the shadow skiff and how those are going to work in that scenario specific. So that's pretty much it, though. Pretty straightforward. Again, my focus was not so much on my minions and how I was building my groups. It was more of finding, I went through 2 mercenaries and kept Mistbane out there. I think I did bring Track's Tail out in the very end, because technically you have to go over here and use this gate port to travel. Well, then you have to come back at the very last couple waves and address and overload this gate port, and I used them for that. So that should get you to 3 stars or 3 renown, whatever, however you want to call it, and be successful in this scenario. Obviously, you could get away with just you know, destroying or overloading the gate ports, or just rescuing Daiwen, and still be successful in the scenario. But that pretty much covers everything that I needed to discuss. So hopefully this will be helpful for you guys if you're struggling on this scenario or haven't played it yet and just wanted a little bit of a tip on how to be successful. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.